Okay, so I have a confession to make. About 18 months ago, I was one of those people. You know the ones. The ones in every comment section saying, AI is just a tool. It doesn't affect real artists. The ones who responded to every AI development with mild dismissiveness. The ones who were, and I'll be honest here, a little bit afraid but performing confidence so well that even I half believed it. I wasn't using AI tools in my workflow. Not because I'd evaluated them and decided they weren't useful. Because I hadn't evaluated them at all. Because engaging with them felt like admitting something I didn't want to admit. And then I had a project that forced my hand. Client deadline. Ambitious scope. Not enough time to do it the way I normally would. And a collaborator who'd been using AI tools for months suggested we try something different for the ideation phase. Just generate some directional options quickly, show the client, get a decision, then build properly. And I agreed. Not enthusiastically. More like, fine, we're out of options, let's try it. And something happened in that session that I genuinely did not expect. It wasn't that the AI output was amazing. Some of it was useful, some of it was terrible. That wasn't the surprise. The surprise was what happened to me while I was evaluating the output. What the process of looking at AI-generated options, quickly, in volume, without attachment, did to how I thought about the project. I'm going to explain exactly what that was, and why it made me not just faster, but genuinely, measurably better as a 3D artist. In a way I didn't see coming, but want to build toward it properly. Because the thing that happened is easy to misunderstand if I just describe it without the context. Here's what this video is. This is a personal one, not a framework video or an industry analysis video. This is me telling you specifically what happened when I actually integrated AI tools into my working practice. Not what I expected to happen, not what the theory says should happen, but what actually happened. The good parts and the complicated parts. I'm going to tell you 5 specific ways that working with AI tools has made me a better artist. Not a faster artist, though that's in there too. Better, in the craft sense. In that I make decisions differently now and the decisions are better sense. And I'm also going to be honest about one way it initially made me worse. Because that happened too. And pretending it didn't would undermine the credibility of everything else. This is not a you should use AI video. I'm genuinely not interested in converting anyone to anything. This is a here's what I observed when I did a video. And some of what I observed surprised me enough that I think it's worth sharing honestly. The thing that happened in that first session, the thing I didn't expect, I'll get there. But let me build toward it. Before the 5 ways, I need to tell you about something that I've come to think is the most underappreciated dynamic in the relationship between AI tools and creative skill. There's a thing that happens when you work alongside a tool that generates options quickly. A thing that nobody really prepares you for. And it's not what you'd expect. I expected to feel redundant. I expected the experience of watching AI generate options to feel like being shown that what I do isn't as special as I thought. Like watching a machine do in 30 seconds what takes me hours. And the first time it happened, there was a moment of that. I won't pretend there wasn't. There's a brief, uncomfortable moment where you look at something AI generated in 30 seconds that looks approximately like something you might have spent 2 hours on, and you feel something in your chest that isn't quite jealousy, but isn't quite comfort either. But then something else happened. The more options the AI generated, the more I noticed something I hadn't been consciously aware of before. I noticed what was wrong with each one. Specifically, I noticed why this lighting direction felt generic even though it was technically correct. I noticed why this composition felt safe rather than interesting. I noticed why this material choice was competent but not specific enough to this brand, this brief, this intended audience. I was evaluating more sharply, and more quickly, and more specifically than I normally did. And here's what I slowly realized. The AI wasn't showing me my limitations. It was showing me my standards. The gap between what AI generated and what I actually wanted was where my taste lived. And I'd never been able to see my taste that clearly before. That's the thing. That's what I want to build on. Let me expand on what I just described, because this was genuinely the biggest surprise and the most significant development. Before I started working with AI tools, my aesthetic judgment operated mostly unconsciously. I knew when something was working and when it wasn't, but I couldn't always articulate why quickly and specifically. It was more of a feeling than an analysis. And feelings are hard to act on with precision. When you evaluate AI-generated options in volume, quickly, with the pressure of a brief you need to serve, something interesting happens to that process. The feeling gets forced into language. Because the AI will keep generating options in whatever direction you started unless you redirect it with specific feedback. And to redirect with specific feedback, you have to know specifically what's wrong. So you say, the shadows are too soft. The temperature is too neutral. The product feels isolated rather than integrated into the environment. The composition centers the hero too symmetrically. These observations are forced out of you by the necessity of directing the tool. And over time, over many sessions of doing this, you develop a critical vocabulary for your own taste. You get faster at identifying specifically what makes something work or not work. You get better at explaining it to others, which becomes enormously valuable in client conversations. And you start making those observations at the beginning of your own work process, rather than only when you're evaluating someone else's output. The AI made me a better evaluator. And a better evaluator makes better work. Not because the evaluation is the work, but because sharp evaluation is what separates the first version of something from the excellent version. This one is about the client side of my practice rather than the craft side. But it changed the craft too, indirectly. Before AI tools, my brief development process was largely sequential. Client tells me what they want. I ask clarifying questions. I develop a mental picture of the direction. I build something and show it. They react. We iterate. The problem with this process is that the first real opportunity to test whether my mental picture matched the client's actual vision was when I showed them the first 3D work, which meant misalignments were discovered expensively at the point where significant work had already been invested. Using AI-generated directional options in the brief development phase changed this completely. Now, the first alignment test happens before any 3D work begins. I generate 4 or 5 rough directional variations, different moods, different lighting approaches, different compositional strategies, show them to the client, and watch their reactions. And here's what I learned from watching those reactions. Clients almost never want exactly what they asked for. What they asked for is an approximation of what they actually want, expressed in the imprecise language of someone who isn't a visual professional. That the directional options give them something to react to, and their reactions tell me more about what they actually want than their initial brief could ever convey. The briefs I work from now are significantly more specific than they were before. Because the AI-assisted brief development process extracts specificity from clients who don't have the vocabulary to provide it in a purely verbal brief. And specific briefs produce better final work. Not because I got better at 3D, because I got better at understanding what the 3D needed to achieve. This one is simpler than the previous two, but it compounds across every project. Before AI tools in my ideation process, I would spend significant time at the beginning of a project in a planning state, thinking about the direction, developing ideas mentally, sometimes sketching, sometimes just sitting with a brief and waiting for something to crystallize. This process is valuable. It's where the thinking happens. But it's also slow and non-linear, and occasionally it stays non-linear for longer than is useful. Working with AI-generated options compresses this phase significantly, not by replacing the thinking, by giving the thinking something concrete to react to. The difference between what direction should I take this as an open question and which of these 5 directions is closest to right and what specifically needs to change is enormous. The second question is much easier to answer, and answering it is making a decision. I make creative decisions faster now. Not because I think less, I think the same amount. But I think against concrete options rather than in an abstract space. And concrete thinking is faster than abstract thinking. The client work has benefited from this directly. Faster decisions mean shorter production cycles. Shorter cycles mean more projects. More projects mean more experience. More experience means better judgment. It all compounds. This is the most personal one, and the most unexpected. In my working practice before AI tools, every significant creative decision carried a weight that was proportional to the time it would take to reverse it. If I committed to a lighting direction and built the scene around it, and 3 hours later realized it wasn't working, there was a cost to that realization. Not just the time lost, but the psychological cost of having been wrong in a way that was expensive. That cost, and the anticipation of that cost, made me more conservative than I realized. I would make decisions that were probably right rather than possibly great. I would optimize for avoiding expensive mistakes rather than pursuing ambitious outcomes. I was managing risk more than pursuing excellence. Working with AI tools changed the economics of being wrong. In the ideation phase, being wrong costs nothing. Try a direction, it doesn't work, generate a different one. The failure is instant and costless and produces information about what doesn't work that points toward what does. Failure in the AI ideation phase is just iteration data. And something about experiencing failure as cheap and informative rather than expensive and discouraging, changed how I thought about risk in the execution phase too. I started making bolder decisions, not recklessly, but more ambitiously, because the habit of treating wrong turns as data rather than disasters started to carry over from the ideation phase into the rest of the work. I make braver creative choices now than I did before AI tools. That's genuinely true. And I think it's because I learned to fail cheaply for long enough that the lesson became part of how I approach all of it. This is the last one, and in some ways, the most important for the long game. When I first started using AI tools seriously, there was a period, and I mentioned this in the intro, where I felt the uncomfortable thing, where the 30-second AI output approximated my hours-long work closely enough that the comparison was disconcerting. But as I worked more with the tools, something clarified. The gap between what AI produced and what I produced when I was working at my best was not random variation. It was specific. And the specific nature of the gap told me something important about what I actually bring that AI doesn't. It's not the technical execution. AI is getting good enough at that. It's not even the aesthetic judgment in isolation. AI can produce aesthetically competent work. It's the combination of aesthetic judgment with contextual understanding. The ability to look at a brief and understand not just what the client said, but what they meant, what the product actually is, what the audience actually responds to, what success actually looks like for this specific project in this specific context, and then make visual decisions that serve all of that simultaneously. AI doesn't have context in this sense. It has training data, but it doesn't know this client, this brand, this product launch, this market moment. It doesn't know that the brand's premium positioning means the material quality needs to feel like restraint rather than opulence. It doesn't know that the client's previous campaign was criticized for looking too cold and that this one needs warmth without sentimentality. It doesn't know any of the things that a professional who's been in the brief development conversation knows. That contextual knowledge and the ability to translate it into specific visual decisions is what I uniquely bring. And working with AI tools clarified this for me in a way that years of making work without AI never quite did. Because the contrast made visible something that was always true, but never quite explicit. I promised I'd be honest about this. For the first 2 to 3 months of integrating AI tools into my ideation process, my original sketching and thinking atrophied, because I was reaching for the AI before doing the independent thinking, generating before developing my own instincts, using the AI output as the starting point for my thinking rather than as a check on thinking I'd already done. And the work suffered for it in a specific way. It became more competent and less distinctive. The AI generated toward the mean towards statistically normal visual solutions. And because I was starting from that mean rather than from my own instincts, I was pulling in the direction of the mean rather than pushing away from it. I noticed this and corrected it. The correction was deliberate and specific. I now always develop a mental direction, even a rough one, even an incomplete one, before I open any AI tool. The AI responds to my thinking rather than replacing it. The output checks my instincts rather than substituting for them. But I want to name this honestly because I think it's the risk that most artists who integrate AI tools don't adequately guard against. The temptation to let the AI think first is real. And the consequence, creative output that is competent but not distinctively yours, is real. Guard against it intentionally, or it will happen without you noticing. Now, something I want to address that I think is the natural next question after everything I've described. How do you actually build the habit of using AI tools in a way that develops your judgment rather than replacing it? How do you integrate them deliberately in a sequence at the right point in the process, in a way that amplifies your creative thinking rather than eroding it? Because the difference between AI integration that makes you better and AI integration that makes you worse is almost entirely in how and when you use the tools relative to your own thinking process. Not which tools you use, not how proficient you are with them, the sequencing and the intentionality of the integration. And I've developed a pretty specific approach to this, based on what worked and what didn't in my own practice, that I want to share in detail. The specific workflow, the specific decision points about when to bring AI in and when to stay with your own process. The specific practice for keeping your independent creative thinking strong, even as the AI tools handle more of the execution. That's the next video. And if you're actively integrating AI tools, or about to, that one is going to be directly useful in a way that changes how you actually sit down and work. So, how has AI made me a better 3D artist? It made my taste visible to me. The act of evaluating AI output forced my aesthetic judgment into language. And language-based judgment is sharper and more actionable than feeling-based judgment. It changed how I develop briefs. AI-generated directional options extract specificity from clients that verbal briefs never could, and better briefs produce better final work. It made me a faster decision-maker. Thinking against concrete options is faster than thinking in abstract space. It changed my relationship with failure. Cheap failure in the ideation phase taught me to treat wrong turns as data, and that lesson carried over into the execution phase and made me braver. And it clarified what I uniquely bring. The contrast between what AI produces and what I produce at my best made explicit the specific thing that's mine. Contextual understanding combined with aesthetic judgment in a way that AI doesn't currently replicate. And the one way it initially made me worse, it atrophied my independent thinking when I let it think first. Guard against that one intentionally. This is my experience. Yours will be different in some ways. But I'd bet the core dynamics, the taste becoming visible, the creative decisions becoming braver, the independent thinking needing protection, those are probably more universal than they might seem. Subscribe if this kind of honest, personal creative conversation is what you come here for. Hit the bell for the next video because the specific workflow, how to integrate AI in a way that makes you better rather than just faster, is the practical version of everything I described today. And drop a comment. Has any of this resonated with your experience? Are you at the performing confidence while actually afraid stage I described at the start? Or have you been through your own version of the integration journey? Tell me where you are. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next one.